What is going on YouTube? It is your boy ThunderBuddy29 here, back today with another video. And today we're going to be doing an unexpected video, a video I did not think I was going to do, but ever since I put out this poll on my community page, which had a lot lesser votes than usual, which only had 137 votes, and out of that, 64% said yes to me ranking all Battlefield games from worst to best. So today we're going to go forward with doing that. I am going to rank every single Battlefield game from worst to best using Tier Maker. Now, first of all, this is 100% my opinion, so you can agree or disagree with me if you want to. And second of all, I hope you enjoy the videos that you see here on the channel. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure you smash that like button down below, subscribe, and share this with your friends, and hit that bell so you will never miss another video. But anyways, without further ado, let's begin, shall we? Alright folks, so now let's start off with this ranking, and I think the first 6 is going to be pretty easy because I actually did not play any of these games. Even though Battlefield 1942 actually looked like a really good game, I just never had the chance to play it. But since I didn't play it, I'm going to put it in the didn't play category. Because I didn't start playing the Battlefield franchise until 2013, but when Battlefield 1942 came out, I was a 1-year-old when it came out. I was still a baby when it came out. I mean, the game looked really good. I just never had the chance to play it, unfortunately. But I know as of like 2021, lobbies were still full in Battlefield 1942. But sadly, I didn't get a chance to play any of these games, so I had to put them in the didn't play category. But some people are going to ask, how did you play Battlefield 1943 and it's a 2009 game? Well, the story originally began when my best friend on Xbox Live recommended me to play this game, which of course I played the free trial, played the 2 rounds for free, one as the Japanese team and one as the American team, because this is a World War II game based in the Pacific. I had a lot of fun in the free trial, so I ended up deciding to get the game, and I grinded on it a lot and had a lot of fun with it. It's a very fun game. It was pretty advanced for its day back in 2009. But the only real complaint that I had is that everything was completely the same. You had the same 3 old maps, you had the same weapons, the same vehicles, and so on. And I also do love the additional feature that they did include later on, which was Coral Sea, which is like a dogfighting game mode, which your team has to fight for air superiority. I mean, overall, it's still a very good game, so for that alone, I think I'm going to put that in B tier. Now, Battlefield Bad Company 2, I did not play that either. And Battlefield 3, I had a lot of fun with this game, and I started playing it in 2013. The multiplayer was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed the multiplayer. The campaign was good. The storyline actually made sense. And arguably, I think this campaign was kind of better than Battlefield 4's. But overall, still a good game. But I think I'm going to put that in A tier. But one thing Battlefield 4 has better than Battlefield 3, and that was a multiplayer. And I think you know where this is going to go. It's definitely an S tier game. I had a lot of fun with Battlefield 4 when I started playing it in 2014. It was just such a fun game. The campaign was good. I mean, not perfect, but good. It had a lot of good moments in the campaign. But the multiplayer was where it was all at. The multiplayer was probably one of the best in Battlefield up to this point. I mean, you had over 200 customization options from vehicles, stationary weapons, and custom class loadouts. There were over 200. And they weren't easy to get. You had to actually grind on this game to actually get the awards. And the maps too were good. The size of the maps were great. Including like Operation Locker and the Metro map from Battlefield 3 that they brought back. Everything about Battlefield 4 was perfectly well done. And I still enjoy it even up to this very day. Despite it being a 9-year-old game, lobbies on there are still full, believe it or not. Now going to Battlefield Hardline. Everyone thought that this game was the worst Battlefield of all time, but we all know that it eventually wouldn't because we know that a game in 2021 would, but we're going to get to that in a few minutes. So for that alone, I think I'm going to put it in D tier. Because it's not the worst Battlefield game of all time, despite it being a very trash Battlefield game. I mean, honestly, it really did not feel like a Battlefield game. It felt like more of a cops and robbers game compared to Battlefield. So for that alone, I think I'm going to put it in D because it was not the worst Battlefield of all time, but it was still a very bad one. Now, going on to Battlefield 1, I think you all know where this is going to go as well. This is another S tier game, and honestly, there was a lot of things that made Battlefield 1 so great. Once again, it had a lot of customizations. Maybe not as much as Battlefield 4, but it still had a decent amount. And it was set based in World War I, which was something that we hardly ever saw in first-person shooters, because we all saw, like, modern games, World War II, and stuff like that, but hardly anything for World War I. And I think that's what made Battlefield 1 so unique and so great. And there were a lot of times in, like, the multiplayer that actually made you feel like you were in the war. Because you were, like, charging trenches and stuff. I think one of the best features in the Battlefield 1 multiplayer was operations. Because you felt like you were in the real war. You had to fight off. You either had to defend against an entire battalion, or you had to use an entire battalion to break through sectors and break through trench lines. Like, you actually felt like you were in the war. And arguably so, I think this was the last best Battlefield game ever made. It was the last Battlefield game that was made perfectly right. And arguably so, probably the last great FPS game ever made. And another thing I forgot to include also, the campaign. The campaign was also spot on. And I love the fact that it did not just include British or Americans. They also included Arab tribes fighting with Lawrence of Arabia, Anzacs, and so on. Like, that's what made Battlefield 1 so great. Now, going on to Battlefield 5. Sadly, it was not no Battlefield 1, unfortunately. I'm definitely going to put it in C tier. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you about Battlefield V. It had one of the worst launches. It was almost a game that was pretty much about to be dead on arrival. And the reason why it was about to be dead on arrival, and that was because of this. Like, they should not have made this the original trailer. Like, if you were going to make an opening trailer to Battlefield, it should have been something like this. Instead of whatever the fuck this is. And Grand Operations, which was kind of like the upgraded version of Operations from Battlefield 1, that was not as good compared to Battlefield 1's operations. They just did it in, like, the most laziest way possible. Because, like, in Battlefield 1, if your entire battalion got wiped out, instead of resuming the rounds where you left off, wherever you were at, in Battlefield V, it would just take you right to the next map right away. Like, that's how lazy it was. But the reason why I put it in C tier, even though it had a pretty bad first year, in the second year, you had the Pacific game mode get released. And that was probably where the game actually did make a comeback, because then you had a new game mode come out called Breakthrough, which is kind of like Operations, but the shorter version of Operations in the Pacific Theater. It was almost like the same as Battlefield 1943, except it was Breakthrough. I mean, you had Wake Island return for the first time since then. That was nice. But eventually, I kind of got bored the same way as I did with 1943. Because, like I said, it was the same maps. But of course, compared to 1943, you had more weapons and more vehicles to choose from. And more stationary weapons. So I think for that reason alone, even though the first year of Battlefield V sucked, but in the second year when the Pacific Theater mode came out, it did make a pretty good comeback. So for that reason alone, I think it deserves to be C tier. And now, dun dun dun, Battlefield 2042, which everyone pretty much knows where that's going. That's automatically going F tier. Everyone pretty much knows why. There's no need to debate this. I mean, it was such a major upset. This had to have been one of the biggest disasters in modern gaming history. I mean, this was a disaster no one expected. Like, when the first trailer came out, like the announcement trailer for 2042 came out, it looked really promising. It looked like it was going to be a lot of fun. And then 1 month before the game came out, the higher-ups, the handful of individuals in the higher-ups, were making these god-awful, terrible decisions, like adding in operators, limiting the amount of customizations, and pretty much taking away nearly every single mechanic that made Battlefield Battlefield, and everything great about Battlefield in the first place. And if you guys want to see more reasons why 2042 sucked, you can go check out my entire playlist of every video I made criticizing this game, which I'm going to put at the end of this video, so feel free to check that out when this video ends. I mean, honestly, this was a very, very big upset. This was a disaster that should have never happened, and it could have been prevented so easily if the handful of individuals in the higher-ups weren't being as dumb as they were. I mean, I'm upset that this was a disaster, but at the same time, it was deserved. Because that's what you get when you abandon your entire fan base. You ignore your fan base. Like, people were even demanding for this game to be delayed, but they weren't doing it. And instead of taking out the operators, despite the backlash from the player base, they kept them in. So, this disaster, they brought it upon themselves. I'm sad about it. I'm sad that this game was a disaster, but at the same time, it was justified. And this game nearly killed the Battlefield franchise. And if Battlefield is going to have any chance of saving their franchise, this game almost just completely destroyed it and almost put a nail in the coffin for the franchise. Because even, like, in the first 5 months of the game's release, it had under 1,000 players on Steam. Like, that's how bad it did. It was the biggest disaster in modern gaming history, unfortunately. So yeah, this is my tier list. What do you guys think of the tier list? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. And before I go, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of my lovely channel members listed on screen here. Thank you all so much. I know this video is probably not going to do that good because YouTube's been very iffy about notifications lately, but I hope you all still enjoyed this video anyway. And if you guys did, make sure you smash that like button down below, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and share this with your friends, and hit that bell so you will never miss another video. And of course, you can follow me on social media, and join the channel today for as low as $2 a month, link in the description below, and also join our Discord server. Of course, we would love to have you there. And I love you guys. I appreciate all the support you have been giving me, as we are now closing in on 6,330 subscribers. Once again, I love you guys to death. Thank you all for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And until next time, I will see you all in the next video. And this is ThunderBuddy29, sign off.